the topic of copyright. We pay no attention to that side of the business. All right. How do we approach understanding the whole game of copyright?
The foundation of copyright is on the premise that if you have something that you own is your possession, forget about you buying something, or just think about something that is yours. However you got it, it belongs to you. The whole principle of copyright is built on the fact that nobody has the right to use your thing, and that means whether to distribute it, whether to sell it, whether to rearrange it, whether to stream it, nobody has the right to use your thing without your permission. So the long and short is that, because we're talking about music now, once you have a song, then it means that there are two separate elements in the song. There's the composition, which is basically the musicians and what they do, and there's the authorship, which is the lyrics. Once the lyrics and the music come together, that is a song. Unless they come together, you don't have a song. Once that is in place, then the principle of copyright is built on the fact that anywhere we go from here with this song, there are some sets of persons that own the rights to this song, rights in the music, rights in the lyrics. And because nobody should be able to use your thing without your permission, industry, so to speak, is built around copyright. It started way back in the days. This is not the place for the detailed presentation about copyright, but the bottom line is, when you hear about JCAP, when you hear about ASCAP, when you hear about BMI, that's what I'm talking about. There's a whole industry that is built around assisting us to protect our works, because on my own, when there was a challenge to my song, somebody applied for 100% of my copyright in No Power on Earth from the UK, right? And that happened for real. If I wasn't tapped into the publishing and copyright network, I would not be able to sort that out. I sorted that out in 2 hours. Some persons are living for years with things unresolved. So the foundation for copyright, it's all about protecting your creation. Just to keep it short.
All right, we have Fabian Wright, the man out of Mandeville. Is it Fabian? It's Pastor now, right? Pastor Fabian.
What?
Minister.
Minister.
Minister Fabian.
If you're not minister, you know, you're not saying nothing still, you know. Like we still, you know. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
welcome, Fabian. I haven't seen you in a while, bro.
You know, I've always been wanting to join with every time if the time missed me, but I still been jump on tonight. Just in case. I saw Sanjay Jama. He sent out the link.
Right.
And I saw Paul. I haven't seen Paul in a while since Genesis.
My God.
No, it's not Genesis. Since Nadine, since before COVID, when we had the musician link up in Kingston.
Okay.
With Nadine
that was a Reggae Month thing?
No, we usually have a thing that Nadine always brings the musicians together every month.
Okay, I know what you're talking.
Yeah.
JJMN, the JJMN.
Yes. Yeah. It's from those times.
Yeah, man.
Right, and when Asian priest was around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yeah, we need more of that, you know.
Yeah, man. COVID needs to go.
we need to learn how to live with COVID.
Oh my God, man.
If him don't go, we still have to move on, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my biggest setback so far. Working with COVID and being able to do productions from home.
Yeah.
Presently, I am not very equipped with. I have a little, and I'm because I'm a teacher.
Yes.
I'm equipped with a good phone, a little laptop, and not as much as I just recently invested in a keyboard,
Okay.
so I'm moving. I'm working with COVID a little bit, still not completely there, because I really want to be able to put the music
Yeah.
out there without having any glitches or playing from the speakers and expecting the phone speaker to do the rest.
Yeah.
When I really enjoy something.
Yeah, man.
Right. So that's me.
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
All right. Bless up, Fabian.
Yeah, man. Yes, Chris.
All right. We have a question here from Integrity Quest Production. That's
What?
Mr. Stone and those guys from Mandeville.
Okay.
Yes, man. The Mandeville crew.
Integrity.
You know, Mr. Stone is a part of the Music Hacks network, definitely.
Yes.
He wants to know, Sir Pablo, what are the copywriting organizations? All right, probably you can address the ones that are local and those that are probably international.
Okay.
All right,
So
so musicians can get
yes.
up to speed with that.
So locally, there are three copyright organizations locally. JCAP, that deals with the primary copyright. JAMS, Jamaica Music Society, that is a society for producers. They deal with copyright. And then you have Jam Copy, that deals with reprographic rights, which is anything to do with text, like when you write book or you have an album with your lyrics right out. I get money from all three organizations every year because I have copyright, I own albums, and I write lyrics that are published. So those three organizations are the Jamaican organizations. Now, in terms of overseas, when you hear of BMI is the equivalent of JCAP. They are in the world, based in America as well as the UK, Europe. PRS is based in the UK, and ASCAP is based in America. There is, what's the other one, man? There's another one in America that doesn't come to mind right now. But ASCAP is the main one. So those are the main copyright societies that concerns us directly. Now there's GEMA, there's a copyright society in almost every country. But because of the reciprocal arrangements between the societies, reciprocal meaning, in Jamaica, we collect for Beyonce and Michael Jackson and send it to America. And in America, they collect for me and send it home, and Kevin Downswell, and send it here. So that is a reciprocal arrangement. So because of the reciprocal network, all of the societies work together, especially if you have a good team, to work them and so you can get protection. So there is literally no great deal of advantage apart from years in the business and experience. There's no great deal of advantage that PRS has over JCAP. Why I would run to PRS in the UK instead of JCAP, because it is going to be, if $10 is out there for me, they are going to collect it and take a percentage, their administrative fee, and send it to me. When I'm with JCAP, I have an advantage because when JCAP collects it, they are giving it straight to me. They are not sending it through anybody. So that's a plug for the local society, and it makes sense.
As it relates, I didn't get the entire presentation because I came on a bit late.
Yeah.
But it's the musicians. How a lot of musicians are struggling, especially right now. As it relates to singers, I think we have a better edge, seemingly a better edge in terms of royalties, right? How can a musician, make sure that his work is paid for his work and suffer like suffer?
Um, I am not certain that the singer is better off than the musician, except that maybe because they are out there and they are marketing and they are forced to deal with certain things from a brand perspective, they are forced to put some things in place, right? But if you and your singer sit down together, and it depends again, the singer, not every singer is Jermaine Edwards that can sing and put the chords together and put the structure together. So it's almost 50-50. The problem is the musician just want to play and eat some food. And so his work gets left. Sometimes nobody intended to take his work, but the work is just left over there, and sometime after 10 years, it just end up going in a pool, or it end up being assigned to one of the other persons, because the musician does not take the time to say, okay, we laid 3 drum tracks today for Paul. We not get no title for the song, It's just so. Suppose it was some original drum tracks, using drums as an example. Then you must have a system and a mechanism for call Paul week or 2 weeks time to say, Pablo, how we work out them 2 tunes there? How we stay? And if so, you have a title. Why? Because you need to register them. But you can think of a million tracks that you play on and never really take the time to make sure that your register works, because that is where it is. Because the earnings from the works is directly linked to registration. That's it.
All right, so because I want to make sure that our musicians understand their position, because a lot of musicians, I believe, are shortchanging themselves, in the sense that if they get paid for a gig, let's say I call them in to do a song, to play for a song for me. For example, I wanted somebody to play, do a drum track for me some time ago, and he gave me his cost. Would you say a musician can go into the studio, lay his tracks? Let's say the singer the singer really and truly just wanted to come and lay the tracks. Which is best? Him being paid for well, I've even need to ask a different way.
I think say a time here.
Because the musician gets paid right away, or he gets paid consistently. Because let's say a Michael Jackson track, the musicians on a Michael Jackson track from ancient of days are still getting paid today.
Yep.
Am I right? While a person that played for, let's say, a Kevin Downsville 3 years or 5 years ago, who never took time out to fix the rock.
The quickest way to respond to you, most effective way to respond to you, is by saying, I mentioned it earlier in the presentation, but you never saw it. There's a notion about work for hire. It's just a notion. I use the word 1 million, I say, if you came to me in studio and I lay the drum tracks, put on some original bass line, and basically lay the foundation for some phrase and stuff like that, taking something from you, and you pay me $1 million, that has nothing to do with my creativity, my works.
Right.
Unless we enter into a proper work for hire agreement where what is tied to that agreement is an amount of money commensurate with what me giving away. So I might charge you $3 million if it's a work for hire. Why? Because once I leave the studio and you carry the song now to Yolanda Adams or Kirk Franklin.
Yeah, boss.
That is it. No, but I know nothing but me collect. But you have some persons now coming in studio and give you $5,000 and say, them pay for the track. Now, from the artist's perspective or whoever is doing that, one can possibly cry ignorance. But as the musician, what I am saying here is that the musician must not be ignorant of that. The person can, because persons come to me all the time and say, so when I pay you that, what does that mean? I say, you're paying for the service. You can send the cards structure, you can send everything to me and them start get the point. You don't know that. And when I bring that together now, it is a discussion in terms of how we share or even how the person values, because there's a sense in which you don't have to take anything, you know. You can have a discussion with the person. How you feel about this? Boy, I love it, man. What's the value? And stuff like that. And you take it. And then, you know, that is the best time also to enter into a discussion about this share agreement, which is a co-writer's agreement. Because as night follows day, 3-4 weeks after that, nobody remembers what happened. You remember, you know, but nobody else don't remember. You know, someone don't really remember. And sometimes it is just in order not to give you what you're due. So I keep it short and leave it there.
Right. This is good though, because a lot of persons that don't understand the pros and cons behind it. And I believe one of the things that is killing a lot of musicians, especially in the gospel arena, is a lack of what's the word? That thing that musicians use. They come together and we not get paid for this now, but we have a joint agreement that when the song hits, everybody gets paid. It's a matter of a love for the music rather than a love for the pay that comes with the music.
Yeah.
We are there will be some payments, but we prefer to go with the long haul, because if you put hands and hearts together and put a good song on you, there's no way under heaven that song will not take the charts.
You know, let me say something. You just said something and I want to address it. When you say everybody come together, and let us say the artist say, boy, look, I have a wicked song, you know. Let us come together and just, we don't have no money, make all of us just throw anything, and when it sell, you know, everybody will earn. Here's the problem with that now, over time. Everybody comes together, everybody does the song, everybody feels great about the song. More than likely, the artist, who is the main person, might be the one paying for the mix if there's a little money to pay for the mix and a little album cover.
Right.
But the minute the song goes online, the only person responsible for promoting is who? The main person.
Artists, yes.
So if you buy some stock, aren't you going to make sure that you see how it go on? You understand what I'm saying? You have an investment in a track, but you leave it to one person. The other day, I probably can say this because I mean it's a good segue. I was talking to Corey, and we were talking about two things. Back in the day, Catalyst never had social media. It was High Five and MySpace, and they were just coming in, and then as Christians, you were getting bashed to be on these things. Imagine,
right?
You know? And so we were talking about that. That boy, look what we were able to do without social media. And then he said to me, Paul, you know what come to me the other day too? Now that I'm an artist, when I see what is required from me to do for my career, imagine if all of us in the group then, you know, have this kind of feeling, because everybody now is in their individual right as artists, you know. And everybody doing things for themselves. But back then, is management. And management means myself. So I'm making a point that at the end of the day, it is all about collaborative effort. We talk about DJ Khaled and we hear the craze about DJ Khaled. Do we want to look and see the credits? The credits look like a book. The amount of persons, that are involved in the track, publishing and sub-publishing and writing and all of that. And it is all collaboration. How does DJ Khaled get Rihanna, different management company, and then a producer might be Timbaland, which is a different, and everybody comes into one room. You see that mashup? It takes intricate knowledge of the business to do what? To pull off some of these things. So in the gospel music fraternity, we said nothing not happen. But one of the reasons why nothing not happening is that we're not even dealing with the thing on that level. It's time for me to reach out to Kirk Franklin and Kirk Franklin reach out to Korik or something, and somebody with that kind of, pull that off. Because that in itself, is once you drop OT in the mix and some other of our big guns, that's a smashing hit just by who you're putting together. But you also have to understand copyright, because at the end of the day, you might only get 5 or 2% of the song when you figure say you should get 30%. But that 2% is valued far more than if you had 100% going nowhere.
But you know what you produced my first song?
Huh?
What you produced my first song,
Here you go.
Yes. Yeah. And the wickedest song ever.
Yeah, man.
All right, Chris, what you?
Yes, bless up yourself, Fabian. Fabian Wright, Minister Fabian Wright out of cool Mandeville. Bless up yourself. All right, we have a question from Mr. Gibson. Paul.
Yes, sir.
Gawain is asking, can musicians still own the recording if it was work for hire?
No, well, I'm going to answer that question in the strictest sense of the word. If the session was a proper, duly constituted work for hire agreement, then everything belongs to the holder of the contract. So if it is a musician, is him. If it is a businessman who is doing a session, everything would go to the business person. In other words, you can't have a session like that where a businessman comes in, Rihanna is in the room, I am in the room, Korik is in the room, Oti is in the room, and when he leaves, he owns everything. Nothing belongs to anybody, but the agreement has to be proper. Anything done it apart from that proper agreement, I don't know what to call it, because it's going to be trouble.
What if there's no legal agreement? I don't know if I missed this part, but I just want to tie in this part because I know persons may be wondering, what if there's no bond to say X person owns this or Y person contributed that? Where does it chip?
Based on how the copyright law operates, in a situation like that, there is absolutely no issue, no problem until at the collecting agency, which is JCAP or wherever. The minute persons who are claiming on the song goes over 100%, even 101%, that is when all hell breaks loose. But up to that point, there is no big deal. In other words, if everybody didn't go and register their songs, it's not such a big problem. But once it gets to the stage where claims are being made, and when you look at the total amount of claims, it is over 100%, meaning 50% music, 50% lyrics. It's more than that, then automatically you have what is called a freeze. They freeze the amount of money related to that song, and then all the parties will have to talk.
Okay, cool. This thing is getting very, very technical as we go along. All right, I have been to JCAP once. I I signed up, I think, probably about 10 years ago when the fee was about $1,500. I don't know what's the fee now.
You don't have to pay any fee
Way
now.
back.
One fee fits all.
So I understand. One fee.
Yeah.
All right. But I realized that they different persons who were involved in the creation of the product had a certain percentage, right? I am going to ask you just to give us a breakdown. I don't know what it is now, but I think musicians got about 10% or 5%. Or I don't know if it is left up to the discretion of the person who owns the material. I'm going to ask you to give us a breakdown as to how that works.
Quickly, and I think Novel hands it up. And there is no formula. There's no formula for that. As I said before, here is the breakdown. The total contribution as far as composition is concerned, which is music, must be 50%. So persons can get 1%, persons can get 5, 10, 15, but it must all add up to 50%. Similarly, the persons who are contributing to the music may not only be the artist, because the keyboard player, maybe he's the person that wrote the chorus, you know, and so the keyboard player can end up earning more from the song than even the original singer, if everything is everything, because he has 50%, for example, if he's a person totally responsible for the music, and then if he's the one that end up writing the chorus for the song that the artists agree on, technically he can have 75% of the song. And that happens in my case sometimes. And then, the challenge with that. But, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But there's no set formula for the percentages.
Right. Before we take Novel, I think it's something that needs to be addressed, and musicians should definitely understand it, because I know there are a lot of hard feelings or a lot of discrepancies where that is concerned. Who gets what?
I live it.
Right? I should get more than this, or I deserve more than this, and stuff like that. But I'm happy you're addressing that tonight, and you're making that clear.
Yeah, and
the Music Hacks
Network. And I think I ask you for that kind of permission, because I know it's music based, but at some point, we really have to look at, some of these things. But
yes.
So a lot of the persons now who understand the modes there, most of the persons here understand the modes, understand the thing. But not everybody understand what we are discussing. Right. This is the point I'm making, a focus on it for that purpose. Yeah. So pardon me, but man. I really that.
I support you there, bro.
Yeah, man.
I do agree with what is happening tonight. All right, let's take Novel Basie Myers.
Dry out, Chris.
Novel, Big Basie, great supporter of the Music Hacks Network.
Big Bass.
Greetings.
Big Bass.
Novel.
Yes, sir, Paul.
Yeah, man, give thanks.
Blessings,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, one of them basically inspire me a lot as a upcoming and at the time when I started out,
Humble man.
So
humble.
Me have to salute a man like you,
Humble man.
Now, I am glad that you brought this across to the Music Hacks Network, Sir Barkley, because I remember about 7 years back, if not, I get called for do our work, but I never really understand the whole business aspect of the thing.
Yeah.
Then until afterwards, because that work was like a hold up and stick up business.
Yeah.
Because we actually get paid while the man have the track and I go fly out. The management come to me and say, if we not sign, we can't get paid.
Yeah.
And if we do sign, we're selling away our rights as musicians.
Yes.
Then, at the time, he didn't need the money, so I'm saying, no,
can't bother with this argument thing. So me just sign because the man gone with me baseline already.
Yeah. Wow.
So I am glad that you brought this across because a lot of young musicians don't understand what they're worth as musicians.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem because sometimes them can't even find it to even buy a string,
Yeah.
or a
And
keyboard key.
yeah, yeah.
You understand?
And
Because they don't understand the business, so they become used in the business.
yeah. And along with that, you see, novel, there are some little things like that comes to mind. For example, there's a certain kind of, so as a bass player like yourself, you walk in and you're playing a melodic line, and automatically you can identify that as a creation, as an original piece, right? That is distinct from a drummer that go in and just sit down on a one drop. You can't publish a one drop so
Exactly.
easily. But there needs to be an understanding of what that is. So in some cases,
Exactly.
it's not like the drummer don't get anything. It's a situation where him can't really claim anything. But
Yes,
I have a
yes.
feeling that in a lot of cases, things go haywire because they don't know. They don't know some basic things about their craft. And it's a big part of your craft,
That's true.
you
That
know?
is so true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Because me see it happen a lot of times. I actually, well, I reasoning with a keyboard player one day because the work that we got Paul for, you see, when me calculate everything, these musicians already did 2 rehearsals, right?
Wow.
So them have 2 more for do. I would have come in for the second one.
Yeah.
So when me calculate everything, call the keys and I say, listen, brother, you're not saying I make no money for that show here.
Because
And
it
he
gone
was
into the
like,
rehearsal.
so, huh?
It gone in rehearsal time. That's what you mean?
Yeah, because the payment where them get,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
try to show them, say, listen, this payment that you get, you're doing 20 odd songs at the time.
yeah,
You see? I'm sure the keys to say, if you leave from work, which part you would to go to that rehearsal,
yeah,
it's going to cost you XYZ amount of money.
yeah.
How much do you make for the show? You know, I make no more than $2,000.
That is part of the reason why maybe it's a music hacks network going to eventually cause us to be able to understand that we need to be a part of a union, because
That's the
those
next
things are
thing.
union matters and those places exist in Jamaica. So we need to get with it and understand where those spaces are, and sometimes invite the head of those persons, give a 5-minute talk before the presentation. You understand? I'm just
That's so
suggesting
true.
that, because look at it now. If we had a upfront union, we would be getting stimulus money like the people in the tourism industry. They are getting a little thing, but we're not getting anything because we are not aligned to, we are not organized, and we play wicked and we are the greatest thing and we are the biggest thing. But at the end of the day, we're not organized. And if we're not organized,
That's true.
easy for fragment.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that is so true. That is very, very true.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it's a blessing
Respect.
having you and me again, another person a chance to talk.
Give thanks, Novel.
It's a blessing having you on the music hacks,
Yeah, man.
I always hear about you. You actually play for my father one at a time, so.
Oh,
Or more than one.
heavy
Also
now.
more than one at a time.
Wow. Who's your father?
Edwin Myers.
Okay.
Edwin Myers.
Edwin,
Yes.
Edwin.
Yeah, man, I know
Yeah,
Edwin.
man.
I'm a good friend. Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
So you play with me more than one time.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a blessing,
Yeah, man.
meeting
thanks.
you and hearing you on the music
man.
hacks because
And I heard about you as well.
years-
I didn't know it's you. Because I heard about Edwin's son that is playing, but I didn't know that is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, give thanks.
It has been years, man. It has been years I've been listening to you,
Yeah, man.
You spoke about the union and musicians being unionized. I think Mr. Lawson and the team, they are currently working on that. I think they had a very important meeting today.
Okay.
I don't think I can disclose some of these things,
No,
but
man, don't.
they have some very, very good plans afoot. All right. And they will definitely be making a presentation on the Music Hacks Network very soon.
That's
All
good.
right. Those guys are working out insurance packages and stuff like that for musician. All right. All right. So Mark Anthony. Mark, you have been all over. Mark is both on YouTube and he's on Zoom.
Come on, Mark. Brethren, man.
Yeah, bless up,
Bless up, Mark. All right.
Yeah, respect
I don't
everybody.
know if you can turn on your camera, Mark.
No, I can't.
No,
I can't.
We talk for him.
If I could, if I could.
No.
Yeah, big
All
up. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right,
just
go
a
ahead.
question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, big up, Paul. Much respect.
Give thanks.
The question you kind of touched on a little bit of what I was going to ask close to the latter part of your conversation with Nofel just now.
Yes.
Earlier you mentioned the song For a Reason that you did with Catalyst. How
Yes.
the bass line, you made the bass line kind of mimic the horns phrase, yeah?
Yeah.
So can you speak to what goes into, like, what's the mindset creatively when you're trying to create a bass line in studio? Like what goes into that? Like, so, and let's just say for reggae sounds, yeah? So
Yes,
whether,
yeah.
like, what are the things that go into to create something that fits?
Good question, Mark. The approach to writing the bass is directly related to the kind of production. So, for example, you could be going into a space where there's a rhythm without bass, and so no lyrics. So you are free now to interpret what you hear repeating, what you hear playing, and then you can put a bass line on that. And most of the time for me, it complements the rhythm because I analyze the kind of rhythm. Is it steppers? Is it one drop? Is it boof buff? Is it a kind of hip hop flavor? It is a kind of mixture. How do I approach that? Note so far, there's no lyrics, there's no melody yet, apart from just the drums. There is that. If the drum track had keyboard progressions, that also helps because you're free to assess the rhythm and then interpret a bass line. So for example, suppose it was an instrumental like For a Reason, which is the pop 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 pop, no lyrics. If I'm hearing that alone, naturally I'm going to be inclined to take a feel from the horns. Sometimes you go into a session and is another set of instruments or a phrase that ignites what you do. Now, the minute there's lyrics for the song, everything changes because there's a song, there's music, and there's lyrics and some melody. What takes preeminence in that situation now is the song. Note the approach to just a rhythm is different from when there's a song. Once there's a song and a melody being played, that overrides how I approach the bass line. Am I going to hug up in my own terms, am I going to hug up the music and leave the voice out there? Or am I going to play a line that complements? So like because sometimes I hear the end result in the song because I mix as well. You have some bass lines that when you listen them with the vocals, the bass is very full. It's not overpowering the music, but it's very full. Change used to play a lot of those kind of bass lines where the bass tone is full and it is up there with the background vocals with the melody. And then now there's a situation where it is, you have a song that, let us say, is a steppers. Even though lyrics is there, the fact that it's a steppers, which is a tap, 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 or boof buff, the boof buff determines what you do. And I must pause again to say, sometimes I'm encouraging all of us when we're doing music, even if you understand the form and the style that you're playing in, because I hear bass lines played over a boof buff that is really more suited for a one drop. It can work, because nobody can tell you that the notes that you're playing is wrong, and it's creativity. But then when you understand the music form now of one drop, separate from boof buff, separate from steppers, you understand that even though the melody is there, because whoever determined the boof buff or the one drop with the melody interprets that that is where the song is going. So something is going in that direction. You, the bass player now, has to take that lead from the form of the style, if that makes sense. So if it's one drop or boof buff or what's the other one? Steppers. And then you basically use that to create a bass line. I must also say that sometimes the minute I hear the song, whether it is lyrics, especially if melody is in it, especially if melody, once I hear a rhythm, meaning that all of the different parts are there instead of the bass line, the minute I hear it, I hear something. It's magical, I can't explain it. Some of these lines that you hear me play, and Mark, you will know, when I hear it, I take out my phone right away and use my mouth and record it, because most of the time, that is it. I think in a nutshell, that's how I approach it.
Yeah, man, nice.
Our friends at Shama Studios, they want to know if they make and sell beats, can they license them before sales?
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
The long answer is call me
Right.
a joke. But that kind of discussion, the whole licensing, it's a process. That's why I said that. You can make beats, you can offer beats in various ways, including licensing them before you sell it to the person. Well, I mean, the term is better put, you would have to have a proper licensing arrangements in place. So it's not really licensing them before you sell them, because the whole act of exchange of licensing, that is the whole selling process. So money is passed or whatever value is passed, and in return, you get an agreement said, here is this song. You get the WAV files, or you get the MP3, or you get the multi-track. You have a single use, you can only put it on one album, or it's an open license, all of those things. Here is the credits that you must put on whenever you do a song. So basically, a license must be in place.
Awesome. All right. Fabian, you have another question, Fabian?
May have been from the first time.
Or maybe.
No.
Right,
It's a follow. Yeah, because the thing I alluded to first,
Yes.
about the wanting somebody to play a track from I was the first one I asked said to me, you're gonna come tomorrow, but charge is $4,000. And in my head, made it feel away. Not because him charged $4,000, but because of where I'm now in music. I have literally pulled myself back to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And the Lord has has connected me with some people who, if I put a song out there, it's not a question, it's gonna get played, right? And I wouldn't want any musician to work on my track and be shortchanged. I wouldn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't feel good about it. I prefer that if that music is played, because my thing is I want to make music that will not die when it comes out. I need to make music that lives on like a Michael Jackson or Bob Marley, right? We don't want dead music. I want some music that lives on, right? And so my first song, Paul, is still being played.
Yeah.
I'm still hearing. I Have Your Mercy still being played. It's a JCDC song.
Yeah, man.
Right?
We played that festival also. Was it
Huh?
so? We played that festival. Have Your Mercy. Or it was
No,
afterwards.
it was
What
Chris.
year is that?
Chris, right? 2009, 2009.
Oh yeah, okay. I know the song though.
Right. Yeah, it's, you know, somebody just told me on Facebook a while ago that it's your favorite song. That's the reason I couldn't turn on my mic just as soon as Chris called, because somebody was actually saying to me, I'm in Canada and I've been looking for you for how much years now. And I Have Your Mercy is my favorite song, right? And he was there with Kimola. That's what he was saying to me. But my point is, I don't want music. I'm not gonna put something out there that when you play it, stop playing. I want when it is played, it continue playing. That anybody that plays on that track must be paid when I get my check from royalties.
That's
I
a
want
decision.
paid.
That's a decision that you have to make. You know, it's not a decision that it's your decision to make.
Right.
Yeah. In other words, I'm categorically saying it is not necessarily a must that everybody who is in the studio playing gets credited, because it is people who create gets credited. Although you hear me say earlier that even in my band setting, in that setting we share because of the understanding of the band. But I need to point out to you that even though you're saying that it's not a must that everybody in the studio, because you only get a share because you create. If you and the keyboard player created the song the night before, and then the next day is the session, you can offer the musicians them a piece, but they can't claim anything if they did not create in the session.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just understand that.
Right.
Yeah. But it's a good practice if you have persons who work with you and you know they're there in season, off season. Sometimes they work for you when you're doing your free gigs. It makes sense sometimes to just give them a part of the residual thing. You know, and that is how we operated with my band back in the day. So today,
Yep.
all of those songs from Catalyst, however them did split up, it is their same way, 20 odd years after.
Garnet, are you out there?
Drawing Garnet. Don't ever come in for the Zoom thing. Garnet, you're a Zoom man, you know.
Yeah, man. Where is he? Bro.
Tell him, say, the mic is
your mic is muted.
Yeah.
Your
Sorry,
mic
I
is
want to
muted,
ask a
Garnet.
question. Yeah, just hold on. I
Yeah, man.
want to ask a question and thing. So
man.
hold on, I'm gonna put on my hat, man.
Is it, you on the way to the sun?
Yes, sir.
With
All right.
spaceship, you know?
So the question that I want to ask, right?
Yeah.
All right. So is in regards to what I mentioned earlier. Some of these artists, I think many of these artists are, what do you call it now? They cheat people out of work. And me and Pablo, we talk about this often. And over the years, you never know that, you know, the information that you know now, you never know it back in the day. Unfortunately, you know, and sometimes you can go back and correct, you know, what has been done. You just have to move forward. But the reason why I say I I wish some of these artists were watching, because there are artists who are still doing it today. There are artists who want you to do something free for them, and that's just it. They don't want to have no agreement. They don't want to work out anything. It just do a thing for me.
Okay.
Right? So it still go on to this day. You know, people wanted to give them a rhythm. When they give them a rhythm, they basically, there's nothing to it. You just help them out while they're not really helping you out. And they know better, you know. These are the artists who know better, but they just decide not to do it. Lord God, may ruffle some feathers.
Well, I mean, when I back down from them things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hinted on it earlier, Garnet. The focus and the emphasis in those situations is not on them. I learned something about the man that is an expert in counterfeit. Every day him get up, him spend every minute of every day just examining the genuine note.
Yeah.
So when him do that, the minute just a shade of the arms house note turn up, him know.
Yep.
He cannot sit down because the counterfeit comes in so many different forms that him can't study it. You have to know so going back to the truth and the root, the onus must be on you, Garnet.
Yeah.
You want me to send you a rhythm? What do you mean? What do you want it for? It may mean that you don't get the work, if you're serious.
Yeah.
But you can't just send it because you want her to sing on it. And when she sing on it now, you're not even going to get credits. So you have to know what you want and said, what's the purpose of the rhythm? Do we have an arrangement? How you want me to do this? Find some way to go around it and say to the person. So what you want it for? Is it a song? Is it an album? Is it a single? Is it an album? Once you start asking those questions, you'll find, like in my experience, they find a way to come off the phone and then drop the argument. So you don't get into any argument. You just have your standard and work by yours.
Yep.
You can't try and match the counterfeit them out there. That's how I see it. So the emphasis is not even on any singer or any artist. The emphasis is on your business principle, what you want.
Yep.
Yeah, man. That's my
I agree.
response.
I agree 100%. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And now you become the person now who nobody ever liked, because you don't like to work with artists.
Well, you can have it both ways,
Yes, sir. I got it. Yes, Chris.
I have friends who, once they start to operate like that, I remember back in the day, all of the artists, them used to just shed.
Yep.
And guess what? All of those artists knew and was registering them thing, and not telling the musician nothing. But you see, once you share with them now what to do and them start to wise up and drop them.
Yeah.
But they knew because they were taking the credit and they were doing what they were doing with it. But as I say, the focus is not on them. The focus is on what is correct, what is the truth.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yes, thank you, Pablo. Right. Thank you for your information, man. Appreciate it. And thank you, Chris.
Yes, man. The two catalysts at work.
Proud, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
No regrets at all.
Yeah. If I could just use this platform just for 30 seconds to just let everybody know how much we respect Paul. I did write it in the chat still, but we have high level of respect for Paul. He's a mentor to me. Plenty of things I didn't know. He has taught me over the years, and even some new ventures and journey that I've been on. I mean, I can't share them on here still, but certain things, Paul has been a part of, or a catalyst, so to speak, that has allowed me to go on certain journey. So I just want to use this platform, Pablo, to just bless you up, lift you up,
Give thanks.
and just know that you're blessed, brother. Just
Yeah, man,
keep
give
doing
thanks.
what you're doing.
Give thanks.
You're
Man.
genuine. That's all I can say. You're genuine.
Give thanks, Garnet.
Yeah,
Feel
man.
the same.
Yeah, man.
Bless up, Garnet.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man. All right.
All
Cool.
right, take it. Yeah, man, take it easy.
All right. All right, guys on YouTube, thank you for joining us tonight for this live stream. We did enjoy your company. So make sure, guys, hit like and subscribe as you support the Music Hack